Hey everybody. Um, Today we're going to talk about something very important. Today's topic is fear. And our moment of truth for Scripture is going to come from 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And it says, "For the Spirit that God has given us does not make us timid. Instead, His Spirit fills us with power, love, and self-control." If you've ever heard somebody quote, "For God didn't give you a spirit of fear," that's that verse there. Depending upon which version you're using, if you look through it in the Bible, take a wild guess at how many times it says something like, "Don't be afraid, don't be worried, don't be anxious." Uh, and the answer to that is 365, one for every day of the year. That's a interesting little fact about it. But all throughout the Bible, if there's one thing that's repeated, that is it. You know, you can't tell from this angle, but I have a plaque up there with a quote on it that I made up. Be mindful, not fearful. Give grace, not grief. And what that means is, the be mindful, not fearful is instead of letting your fear kick in and take over, be mindful of it. Be aware of it. Always be running risk assessment in your head, but do not let it overpower your thought process. Do not let your brain switch to autopilot. That's what a lot of people count on. That's why it sounds good in theory, but in practice it makes things difficult. That seems to be the MO, you know, around the world right now. Like I said before, the the more complex something is, the easier it is to corrupt. That's why you got to keep life, simple. I would say you have to kiss life. Keep it super simple. Um, the way the laws work, the way the tax codes work, the way uh, everything works in this country. It is so overcomplicated, and that's why it's so it can be corrupted. They know what they're doing when they make these systems. But again, that's an awareness. That's not a fear. There's a fine line between awareness and paranoia, uh, especially in some things that people don't want to believe. But if you have true faith, right? And I define faith as a true love for God, right? You are going to listen to who you trust, and you trust who you love, right? Let me say that again for the ones in the back. You listen to who you trust, and you trust those you love. If you're in a relationship and your partner is listening to somebody outside instead of keeping it internal between you, that's what that is. You're not supposed to be stepping out. That's why you're not supposed to have false idols, which is something you put in front of God. No, God is supposed to be top, number one on the list. You know, um, and once you work it that way, once you decide to buckle down and say, hey, this is the lifestyle I want to lead, it's not easy. And again, we're humans. We're not going to get it perfect every time. We're still going to make mistakes. You know, being a Christian doesn't make me sinless. It makes me sin less because I'm more aware. But remember, know the difference between awareness and being afraid. As usual, take care of yourselves. Try and help take care of each other. I'll see you in the next one.